So for those of you who are just joining us, I want to welcome you to the ACES virtual graduate student town hall. My name is Eric Perry. I'm the social media coordinator and webmaster for ACES, and glad to have you all here with us. Just a couple of reminders as you get started. If you're having any issues with audio, please feel free to send me a chat, and I'm happy to help you troubleshoot. We're scheduled for 90 minutes today, and we have quite a few folks here with us who are going to introduce themselves and have some topics to share with you. As these platforms get kind of loaded up with the events as of late, you might notice some delays. If you have technical issues, you can also email me at socialmedia@acesonline.net. I'll be here for the duration and happy to help. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to our graduate student representatives and let them get things started.
All right. Hi, everyone. We're really happy that you could join us. My name is Teysha Bowser, and I will be the graduate student representative past in the 2020-2021 year. So hello, everyone. Before we introduce ourselves, the graduate student representative team, we would like to take the moment to have some of our lovely council members who have joined us to introduce themselves, just so you can hear from them, and then we'll follow back and introduce ourselves some more.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Chris Goodrich. I'm the current ACES president, although like Teysha, I'm looking forward to July 1st when I become past president. I just want to express my deepest appreciation for you all. I'm not sure if you all know this, but about 1/3 of ACES membership is our graduate student members. And so you're not just important for us because you're a third of our association, but that is substantial and very meaningful to us. But also because you're the future of our field, the future counselor educators as well as supervisors. And so I deeply appreciate spending some time with you all today. And if ever you need anything, please feel free to reach out to either your graduate student reps or as well as any of the members of our presidential trio or executive director. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Heather Ambrose, and I am the ACES president-elect. So when Chris goes out, I come in. I'm very happy to be with all of you today, and I hope all of you are doing well and that you're taking care of yourselves during this interesting and stressful time. I look forward to working with all of you over the next year or so, and I'm here to help if you need me. So welcome to the town hall.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kelly Duncan, and I am the ACES Executive Director, and I'm so pleased to have had the opportunity to work with your 3 graduate student reps since I came on board as the Executive Director January 1. And I am equally as excited about the opportunity to perhaps meet you and work with you in the future. So excited that so many of you joined us today. And like Chris and Heather have shared, I'm here to help you as you may need me. So thank you very much and welcome.
Right. Thank you so much for introducing yourselves, just, so all the graduate students can be more familiar and just have some insight in some of the important council meeting members that we have. So then I will go ahead and let our other 2 lovely individuals that are part of the graduate student representative team introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. This is Jose Tapia-Fuselier. I go by Joey. I am the incoming graduate student representative that I will start in July. So I've been the designee this past year, learning a lot about the organization and how graduate students are supported. So I really appreciate everyone joining us during this difficult time. I know it's not easy for many of you impacted by this on multiple levels. So I do want to just let you all know that that's part of the reason why we wanted a town hall, was to figure out how things were going for you all and kind of the initiatives we have planned for this next year, but also what other initiatives can be put forth based on what your needs are.
Hi, my name is Jan Gay. I'm the Graduate Student Representative Designee. I'm finishing my first year at the University of Florida, and I'm just excited to join the team and be with everyone and help in any way I can. Thank y'all again for joining us.
And so we will be putting, I don't know if it's already in the chat or not, but we know that there's quite a few people here. So we want you to take the time to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what university you're at, what year you're in, and also what track you're currently in, just so we can see kind of who our audience is and be able to connect more with you in that way, since we know you're not able to currently unmute at this time. And then also, as Joey mentioned, we really thought it was important to have this town hall. I know we're all kind of adjusting to the current situation with COVID-19, and it's impacted, our time as graduate students, whether this is your final semester or the end of your first year. And so we really wanted to take this time to come together and see how the ACES graduate student representative team could really support everyone, both currently and then also in the upcoming year. With that being said, we wanted to start off by kind of discussing some ideas that we were thinking about for the upcoming year. And then once we go over that, then we really want to open it up to you to ask any questions that you may have for us. And so we ask that once we get to, you can put questions in there as we go along, and then we'll address them towards the end.
Is this my turn? I'm so sorry, Teysha.
No, it's okay.
So sorry about that, y'all. I've been distracted with everyone introducing themselves, so we appreciate that. And again, we want to extend our condolences for everyone who has been impacted by this. We know that as graduate students, especially at a time like this when many people are either coming into programs or transitioning into proposal or defending and trying to find jobs, we know that many places have been impacted in terms of the job search. So we are mindful of that. And some of the initiatives that we have kind of come up with was before all this happened. So our goals are definitely to align with what your needs are at this time, and then also what the potential needs are moving forward. So know that what we discuss in a minute is what we've pretty much have outlined over the past few months. Teysha and I and Josh Castleberry, who's the current ACES GSR-Past. And just so everyone knows, I know because we're saying past, we're saying current, we're saying designee. There's every graduate student representative is on a 3-year term, so they come in as a designee for a year, kind of learning about the position. Then they move into the active, which is Teysha right now. So that is for a year, and then you move into a past. So you serve more as a mentor, as someone to assist the team. So the graduate student representative team are composed of us 3. And so what this town hall is focusing on is for the next year. So where I am going to be the active graduate student representative. So we appreciate everyone joining us today to hear, and also to allow us to hear from you. Some of the things that we've talked about in terms of how to help graduate students be engaged. What we've noticed over time is based on the region you're in, based on the type of committees or programs that exist for graduate students, the level of engagement varies across regions. So we are trying to figure out how can we help build a stronger platform for graduate students, not only to be engaged, but to be informed and a part of the process. Because as you all will learn, is we are meant to represent you all. as much as I would represent myself, our goal is to represent everyone at large. The 1/3 of our membership, as our current president, Christopher Goodrich, shared, is graduate students. So we have a big voice, and we want to make sure that your voices are heard. So as questions come in, I know that we are going to be addressing them with once we move into opening up the discussion. So if you have questions in there, we're working our best to catch them. I just saw a few that popped up. So in terms of initiatives, one of our goals for this next year is to really strengthen graduate student committee. So every region in ACES, there's 5 regions. Every region has a designated individual graduate student representative of some kind, either 1 or 2 co-representatives. So one of our main goals is to increase collaboration with them and strengthen the graduate student committee within ACES that is with representatives from each region, because what we notice is, even with ourselves, is just because we're in one region when we are in school, we don't always stay in the same region. We sometimes move on to another region for work, for employment, or whatever the case may be. So we want to make sure we are able to help build stronger connections between everybody, between students, but also representatives, so that resources and information can be shared. One of the things that, in talking to the graduate student representative team, is there's so many opportunities for graduate students to be involved, but oftentimes depending on the area you're in, you might not hear about it. You might not get an email, you might not receive information until after the fact. So we're trying to figure out ways to strengthen the communication so everyone is indeed informed of opportunities for leadership, or just to get involved in the professional organization like ACES or within regions. Another kind of important highlight is one of the ideas that we have been floating around is developing a podcast focused on counselor education and supervision, with special focus on emerging issues and hot topics in our field. That is obviously something that would be separate and be focused primarily on what's going on. So obviously topics related to COVID-19, topics related to aspects like some of you are sharing difficulties about navigating practicum and internship and things related to sites, and just what is available, what is out there. We're trying to find ways and be innovative in pushing ways to communicate with everyone that is outside of an email, that is outside of a when you come to a conference, here's this information. We're trying to find ways that this information is constant and that you are able to access it in a way that meets your needs at this time. For many of you who commute or who need time to step away from school and just want to dive into what's being talked about. Another initiative of ours is to develop webinars based on your needs. So again, those are going to be coming from today. So based on what you all share, we definitely want to hear from you in terms of what you want to hear from in terms of webinar content focus on graduate students. ACES does a really good job about providing webinars throughout the year. We want to make sure that we are able to bring in a few that are focused for what you all are currently identifying as issues or areas that you want to learn more about. I'm trying to see, there's something when it comes to, like I was mentioning earlier, in terms of connecting you to other people, we want to help you understand who your leaders are. I think as graduate students, there's so many things going on. We're involved in a lot of areas, and sometimes we don't know who to contact or how to get connected. So we want to help bridge that gap a little bit to make it easier for you to, one, connect, whether you're a master's student interested in doctoral work or a doctoral student trying to figure out what support is available out there for you. Because as I was looking at everyone who introduced themselves, there's a lot of variety in people in terms of the field you're focused, or the track you're focused on, the year you're in. So we definitely want to set up a platform to where you're able to find connection and support whether with similarities or with similar interests that you have. A town hall like today, this is something we plan to continue throughout the year. One of our goals is to have it set up to where we have one in the spring and the summer and the fall. And the goal for that is to continue to figure out what your needs are as these things continue to become, as changes continue to unfold with our current academic year, the summer, and then also the following academic year. As many of you, again, because of this COVID-19 are impacted by. Teysha, did you want to add anything to what I shared?
The only thing just as a reminder, I know Joey mentioned not wanting to just receive emails and wanting to find other avenues to communicate with graduate students. Since we do send or try to send things out through email, I would encourage everyone, if you're not getting those emails, to reach out so we could, and to make sure that, you know, in your membership that you have ACES and that you're like subscribed to the mailing list, and making sure that's not going to your junk mail and things like that. Just because sometimes when conferences are happening, we might send like a compilation of all the events that are happening there, and things like that. So I would encourage that. And also, in terms of like the town hall, Joey mentioned, you know, that we want to continue these. So we definitely will be soliciting your feedback in terms of, you know, do you have preferences or things maybe you felt like weren't addressed that you would like addressed in town halls? You know, if after we do this for a while, if we feel like you need it to be more frequent, can talk about that as well. That's all I would add to that. Jan, do you have anything to add?
Go ahead.
No, I don't. I think you're right. Everything y'all said, I agree with. I'm just listening and trying to look at the chat as well.
Okay.
One thing that, just so you'll know, Eric Perry put, if you are not receiving our emails or getting notifications, the email address is there to reach out to, so that way you can be troubleshooted and so that you can be getting more communication. But some of the concerns that were obviously going on is graduation for this semester. So something that we are considering and proposing is that we had a conversation yesterday. Jan brought up a wonderful idea of having a form of a kind of, not a virtual graduation per se, but more of just like a video of people who are currently graduating. So either a photo of you and your name and where you're from, so that way we can highlight you and your work and your graduating, so that there is at least a space where you can be recognized on some level with everything going on. That is something that we were talking about, and would love to hear your thoughts on that when we open up the discussion. But we are again, so among the three of us who have been impacted in some form with COVID-19, it is not reflective of everyone's experience on here. So we definitely want to ensure that we hear from you all as well in terms of ways that you would want to be supported through this process.
And then I guess the only thing I would add before opening it up for questions and things like that is we did want to bring to your attention some opportunities for involvement at the student level. So I know some people have sent out their request for emerging leaders, and so we will be sharing that momentarily in the chat. So just being aware of that, and we'll also try to keep track of that and send that out to you all as well, compiling that, just so we know it's hard that like to find opportunities to be more involved in the organization sometimes, just because there's like a lot of emails, it's on different platforms, and so we want to be able to assist with that as well. So I just wanted to add that. And then Joey, Jan, do you have anything else that you want to add or that I may be forgetting?
No, I think you shared everything. I appreciate that as well. As you know, as opportunities continue to come through, we do want to find ways to get that information out to you all so you are able to get involved and get support, whether that be through leadership opportunities or funding opportunities that are either within our organization or within other affiliated organizations of ACES as well. And I know that, so we do want to set time to open it up for discussion. There have been a few questions that have come through. So I do want to allow Christopher Goodrich, our current president, to kind of speak to some of the work that ACES is doing with KCREP, as again, we know that many of you are impacted on multiple levels, whether at the master's or doctoral level.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. I just wanted to jump in because I noticed there was a few questions about practicum and internship. And I can share that our presidential trio, which is Dr. Melissa Luke, past president, myself, and Dr. Heather Ambrose, as well as Kelly Duncan, our executive director. We've met on several occasions with Sylvia Fernandez, the CEO of KCREP, as well as different members of the board. I can say KCREP is very concerned about students' graduation and progress towards graduation. A lot of the groundwork that they've already laid has to do with how to support students towards progress with degree, trying to find some flexibility with both clinical placements, as well as some of the other issues that would impact progress towards degree. Some of this is really restricted based on setting. And so, you know, KCREP has some allowances, and that is available via their website. And they're currently working to see other forms of flexibility for faculty, because they've addressed the student issues, not so much the faculty issues relative to number of supervisees one can adopt, so forth. Part of the issue with practicum and internship really depends on what capabilities your university has, as well as what's happening in your community. And so KCREP allows, when it's possible for your university, to engage in telemedicine and some other creative approaches towards direct hours. The issue really is what is your university able to provide to students, and what relationships you have with those different places in the community. And so, you know, one thing I would say is if you're running into concerns with a practicum or internship site, be in very close touch with your faculty and have them help you to troubleshoot. That's actually their job and a requirement, because the faculty actually administer the program that then is KCREP accredited. And if the faculty are unable to work with you, I would work with the other administrators at your university. You know, your faculty should be trying to troubleshoot with you around some of these issues. Also knowing that some of us are just really restricted based on the stay-at-home order and what's available in your community. So we do know that some students will have to slow down their progress to degree because there's just not the availability of resources. But if faculty are unaware, please point them to the KCREP website to see what flexibility and options are currently available that weren't previously available based on COVID-19. I'm not sure if that's incredibly helpful, but I will let you know we are continuing to engage in conversations with KCREP. I see this as a long-term relationship to support both students as well as faculty as we all move through this COVID-19 crisis. Dr. Ambrose, Dr. Duncan, do you have anything else to share related to that?
No, Chris, I think you did a good job of highlighting what we have been discussing with KCREP and some of the things that they're doing to try to help students meet their goals. I think really the important piece is to talk with your own faculty about what might be available for you during this time.
And I would agree. I think you've covered it well.
Thank you all for that. I know we were emailed a question related to graduation, as we kind of talked about. You know, a lot of graduations are either being moved to virtual or postponed. And so, but some may be kind of up in the air. And with that, if you are wanting to try to graduate at a certain time, like or attend a certain graduation ceremony, I would encourage you to talk with your university. So I know at my university, I'm at the University of Nevada, Reno, and we originally were going to have a virtual graduation ceremony, and so the students really preferred to have an in-person one. So they created a petition, and based off of that petition, the president of our university decided that we could decide whether we were going to attend December graduation or the following spring graduation. So just wanted to put that out there just in case anyone is curious or wondering about that or has a similar experience. Were there any questions that we missed, or do we just want to go ahead and open it up?
I think we can open it up now, get some ideas of where people are and what questions you might have and what you might want to see as in terms of support from the graduate student representative team for this next year. So if you don't mind using the chat function that you have below to kind of let us know what questions you might have or where you are at this time in terms of needing support from the graduate student representative team. We may not be able to answer all the questions, but what our plan is to take down questions that you have about resources and other types of supports that we may be able to provide after the call via email with links and whatnot.
I do want to throw out, if anybody wants to share in the chat kind of their self-care right now, this is Jan, but what are y'all doing either that's positive or for yourself during this time as we kind of cope with the COVID-19 crisis as students? And some of us are students and instructors, and I know for me that's been kind of a challenge being on both ends. So I've started walking. So if anybody wants to share in the chat kind of some positive things they're doing, just to keep
And then there's a question from Kimberly about being a member of ACES, but not sure how to be a member of the region. So just so you know, you do have access to your ACA accounting.org account that you can go in, and when you sign up to be a member of ACES, you are able to select the region that you are in that you want to be a part of for free. That's part of becoming a ACES member. You get a registration to your region for free as well.
Can I jump in, Joey?
Yeah.
So when you become ACES national member, you're automatically a member to whatever region based on what state you reside. And so if they live in the southern region and they're an ACES member, they're automatically a SACES member. There are 4 other regions they could join for an additional fee of $15, but you are automatically, for the price of the ACES national membership, a member of your region.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes.
So I did see that TJ asked about if there were going to be, due to some of the regional conferences being and the uncertainty with that and how that's being used for job talks and things like that, is there options for graduate students to have a virtual job talk, especially for students who are going to be on the job market next year? I would say in general right now, in terms of the regional conferences, they're still coordinating things and planning. So we don't have a whole lot of information about that, but we will definitely reach out to everyone and provide more information as soon as we know.
Yeah,
And just
and
go ahead.
oh, I don't want to be too assertive. I apologize. You know, I do want to let you all know that the regional conference planners have been meeting monthly. And so many are planning. There is some conversations about some maybe going virtual, some maybe not. Your regions will contact you as soon as they solidify their plans. They're in different stages based on the COVID crisis, but there's talk about how to still coordinate some of the things that people most value in this next year.
Thank you for that. I was just going to say that those of you who are asking questions like these, we are what I am doing is I am copying them into a document, so that way if some of those don't get addressed within your own regions, we do want to continue that conversation, because that is an important part of going to conferences as a graduate student, is those job talks as you're preparing to graduate and find employment. So we definitely want you to know that we care about that issue, and that's an important issue that we will definitely ensure that all regions are aware of, as this does not only impact the region you're in.
I saw a question about how else to get involved, and that you learned about ACES from your advisor. For me, service is pretty important. So looking at state opportunities, local opportunities, and national. So if you're a part of ACA, so they have different divisions and they all offer student rates, and each division has their own emerging leaders. Some have committees, some have grant opportunities, committee opportunities, newsletter opportunities, lots of great ways to kind of get involved and get plugged in. So I would suggest that you look for what aligns with your identity, personally and professionally. So I'm also part of ASCA and the Florida School Counseling Association, because that kind of aligns with me as well. But I'm also part of like Counselors for Social Justice, because that's important. So there's lots of great opportunities. I would also say maybe don't spread yourself too thin, but look at what you could actually commit to and provide service and do the work. So maybe looking at 2 or 3, organizations between national, state, and even on your campus level. CSI always has opportunities for leadership and involvement. So there's lots of great opportunities. But if anyone wants more help in how to find ways to get plugged in, just let us know.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Jan. I wanted to do some shameless self-promotion of ACES right now. So I put in the chat, there's a link for you to get involved with ACES. It's a form. It goes directly to our executive director. You can indicate what you're interested in, the types of interest networks you're interested in. If you want to get involved with conferences, there's tons of volunteer opportunities, tons of places where you can express your interest and really just be a part of the organization. So I'd encourage anybody who wants to get involved, particularly with the things that ACES has going on, to check out that form and fill it out and send it in.
Not sure if we've addressed all of the questions, so if we haven't addressed your question, please feel free to repost it in the chat. Also, I want to say if you have suggestions in terms of some of the initiatives that we discussed, feel free to post that in the chat as well. And yes, this is being recorded, so you'll have access to that.
So what we'll do to it, as questions continue to come in, at the end, we'll definitely provide this question, this link to the recording, but also we'll provide Eric links to what we have recently found among available opportunities to get involved, whether it be in the region or at within an affiliated organization or within our own, so that you are able to get connected through this time. One thing that I found that has been really helpful is having this shared kind of experience and well, obviously we're having some similar shared experiences, but talking to other counselor educators or graduates, doctoral students or graduate students outside of your own university, and that has been really helpful and almost calming, because we are all in this together in some way. And like we shared, there are some questions we might not be able to answer completely, but some of the concerns that come up, we definitely want to continue to carry on your voice and have further discussions with the board so that we can make proper movements to figure out how we can best support you all.
This is Kelly Duncan. I'd be happy to respond to Megan J's question that she put in about licensure, if this is an appropriate time to do that.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so if you look in the chat, Megan had asked about licensure at the state level and a requirement, it looks like, to take some additional coursework after she'd already finished a 60 credit hour master's program, and wondering about that. Just so you can kind of wrap your head around this as you think about graduating and licensure, each state's licensure law is controlled by their state licensure board, which approves in statute and administrative rule what those requirements are going to be for each state. And so you may have gone to school in one state but decide to live then later in another state. So it's important already at the student level, if you happen to know that you're going to move somewhere, that you begin to look at the licensure requirements in that state that you're going to be moving to, so that you're sure you have taken the coursework. So there could be states, for example, that require some coursework that you did not receive. And I think that's what Megan is sharing in her chat question. And so if you can pick that up while you're still in school, that is certainly helpful. But there are times when you move someplace and then you find out there's sort of one more hoop to jump through, one more class to take, that you need to pick up that coursework for licensure eligibility. One of the things that you might consider following and really trying to get involved in is at the national level. The American Counseling Association and our association have been very involved in working collaboratively with some other groups on what's called licensure portability, and the ability for one to be, say, licensed in one state, and then if they move to another state, that license is more easily ported to the next state without having to kind of jump through a bunch of hoops, having to maybe do additional supervision hours and such. So you might track that a little bit and get involved in that. Often there are emails that go out asking that members share with their congressional members for their state who are in DC about their experience, and being able to stress that you would like to serve, for example, in an underserved rural area or in an underserved urban area, and that you're having some obstacles because of these licensure issues, can be really, really helpful information. So, Megan, I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Thank you so much for answering that.
I did see in the chat that was a discussion about graduating PhD students and how the job searching is going. And I just want to address that because I can relate to that. So I am actually graduating this semester. I actually will defend tomorrow. And so what I've noticed is that in terms of postings, a lot of them have been removed, due to this time, a lot of freezes and things like that. There's still a decent amount. And, if you've applied to some and they have to temporarily freeze, they'll let you know. With that being said, I've still gotten contacted from different places. So it's not a complete shutdown of everything. So if you are currently on the job market, don't lose faith or don't lose hope because something will work out. So just wanted to address that.
And as others have shared too about their self-care routines and what they've been doing during this time, I appreciate you all sharing some of those things you're doing, and I would encourage you to continue doing that and taking care of yourselves as everyone tries to navigate this new experience. Some of what Paige just mentioned, yes, I can see how that, that's very unsettling in many ways. I do know that certain programs, just hearing from other friends that are in the same position as you all are, well, some of you are in terms of graduating and looking for jobs, it really just depends on the institution and the state and what's kind of going on, because every state is responding in different ways. The universities are following suit. So I definitely would encourage you to stay in contact with either your major professors or people that can help you navigate this process, as again, it's new for us and it's new for them as well.
If I could jump in as well, I know this is a very scary process, and a lot of us have not been through this, but I can share when I graduated with my PhD, I graduated at the height of the last recession, and things to remember is your first job isn't necessarily your last job, and so sometimes you might have to move around. I was in a visiting position. Some people graduated my year took clinical positions while they waited for things to reopen. At some point our economy will get better, states will have money, we'll see universities with more money, and things will reopen. It may take a few months, it might take a year, it might take a couple of years, but just because you can't secure a position immediately, and that's not to say you won't, but if you do struggle securing a position immediately, there's still opportunities for the future. I've always wanted to work in a research university, did not get that out of the bat, kept conducting research to secure my vita, and then was able to settle into a role at a R1 university, which is what I was looking for. And so I know it's not what you maybe are hoping for, and it is adding some additional anxiety. However, there's still opportunities for the future. And so try to take a long-term vision, which I know is very hard when we're stuck in the middle of a crisis, but there will be a future for all of us.
Thank you for saying that. I think more and more, I think students have to hear that message to remind us a little bit about, the things that can be coming and how, and yes, a definitely encouraging message. So that is important, and I appreciate you sharing that. In terms of some of the things we talked about in terms of initiatives for the year, webinars and content for you all, what would you all like to see? What would be most helpful for you all? Not considering right now, but maybe in the summer or in the fall time in terms of content, what would you like to see? I think that's a good topic, online teaching training. That would be, I would agree. I come from a program that is all in-person classes from undergraduate, grad, and doctoral level. So online instruction has been an interesting experience for me, teaching and also being a student. So that's a great topic.
So if I can offer just some of the resources that we have right now on ACES Online, it's available to everybody. There are 4 recordings. We talked about moving counseling instruction online, and a lot of that was geared toward moving traditional classes to an online environment. But there's also ways to connect. We have a Slack group that's out there. There's teaching resources that folks have shared and posted in those. So in addition to the webinars and content that we have recorded and sitting out there, the Slack group really provides an opportunity for you to get on and share and connect with others who are teaching or preparing to teach in an online format. So that's something that we got onto as early as we could, and still maintain that space for everyone to get on and share those resources. So ACES has a little bit of that right now, and as we move forward, I imagine there's going to be a lot of need and a lot of want to see more of those types of resources. So just want to let everybody know what was out there at the moment.
Thank you for sharing that. I am taking down everyone's comments that they're sharing, because I think a lot of these can be definitely provided. These are a lot of good topics. And also, I think one thing that we'll work to do as a team is ensure that we are sharing other upcoming webinars with our affiliated organizations, whether at the regional level or like AMCD or other counseling organizations that have topics that are hitting some of these areas. Because as great as the webinars that ACES puts on, we do have other, within our sister organizations that are providing webinars for student focus that we want definitely to get out there to everyone and for everyone to be informed and aware of.
I think it's a good suggestion about having the list about trainings and stuff. Specifically in this regard, it was telehealth. So I appreciate that suggestion. Also, I know we're asking you all a lot of questions about suggestions and stuff, but also if anyone would like to put input in terms of like, do you like having the town hall? Is that something you would like to continue? Or any comments related to the town hall in general, please feel free to share that as well.
To answer one of the questions, yes, I definitely think we've talked about this amongst ourselves. One of the things that we want to try doing, looking for next time, is how to be able to see faces as well. I think that would be really helpful. I think it's great to hear our voices and to see our names, but also so we get to see you as well and see, you know, have more interactive experience.
You know, Joey and Teysha, I can't help but wonder if you would mind sharing your own leadership journey and how you all became the GSRs of ACES, and any helpful tips that you might have for others to get involved in an organization like ACES or others.
Oh, I love that idea. Yeah, so I can definitely share. So I am currently a third year, I guess we didn't even introduce ourselves in that way. I'm a third year doctoral student at the University of North Texas. It's a 4-year program. So when I came in my first year, you know, they talk about, at least our program is very, there's a component of leadership that's emphasized. I know not all programs are set up that way. We were encouraged to, you know, join a professional organization if we weren't already. And when I did, I went through ACA and obviously joined ACES, and I'm a part of ACES. And there was a call out for GSRs in my first year. And the only experience I had was CSI. And so I wasn't, you know, as far as that would take me. I was very interested and eager to understand, you know, what is it like to be on a board. I came from a master's program that was it was a hybrid type program, and I was working full time, so I really didn't have any opportunities to get involved in leadership or really understand what it meant to be a part of an organization. Aside, I loved going to conferences, and that still remains the same. But outside of that, I wasn't quite sure what that looked like. So when I submitted my application for ACES, I was, you know, I emphasized my passion and desire to, you know, get involved with students, help students, and, you know, all those things. And when I was selected to be the ACES graduate student representative back in 2018, it was a great experience in really understanding, like, oh, I have a place in leadership. Who knew? You know, I'm the type who was very nervous to talk to people, you know, in front of people, and a setting like this before would not have been easy. So it really allowed me not only to meet people from other states at other places within our region, but really got me connected to other organizations and other programs that are available for students and ways in which they get involved. And, you know, again, when it comes to regions, for certain regions, we make a large percentage of membership. So it's important to know that our voices do matter. So once I got involved in that, I decided to apply for the ACES rep, and So now I'm here, but within that time, I've had a lot of opportunities to be involved in, I think when you start in leadership, you find out, oh, there's other ways I can be involved, even if you don't want to be involved like long term. Let's say you want something, a service type position where it's maybe shorter in length. There are emerging leader programs. Paige just mentioned that, yes, emerging leader programs that are maybe a year to 2 years, depending on where it's housed in. There are like conference proposal reviewers. There's like research grant reviewers. There's many other types of within organizations, other small, well, they're meaningful, but in terms of the time requirement, it may be more fitting your schedule and your needs at the time. So there are multiple ways that you can plug yourself in. Just knowing that when you plug yourself in, it really opens you up for what's possible and really getting to meet people and to know people. I know that I'm an extrovert, so I think Teysha can speak to what it's like as an introvert entering this space. I outed her as an introvert, I'm so sorry. So for me, I definitely, I enjoy getting to experience others. So if you are an extrovert and want that similar experience, I definitely would encourage you to just put yourself out there and apply, because you never know what will come from it. I know that I was very hesitant and nervous because I didn't feel like I had enough knowledge. But I think it's one of those things where you have to take the chance and see what happens. And throughout that process, you receive amazing mentorship and support, and you learn so much more of how you can impact not only yourself, but also others.
Well, as Joey mentioned, which is very true, I'm very introverted. And actually that is an interesting aspect of like being in this position or role. So I think what really encouraged me to even really pursue leadership was as part of our program. It was really encouraged for us in our first year to seek out leadership opportunities. I don't know how many people can relate, but I think when I was a master's student, I didn't really consider leadership. I didn't think that that was for me. I just figured it was for other people who are more connected and more involved. So I didn't really try to engage with it. I didn't feel like I would belong to that. So then in my first year of my doctoral program, really just looking for opportunities to engage in leadership. And actually, I was going for, I was like, okay, I'll start off small. So I'll just do, well, smaller and, try to go for like a regional graduate student position and then work my way up. And then as it happened in doing that, they were like, well, why don't you go for the GSR position? And I was like, oh, okay. But then I was like, I probably won't get it, so it's fine. And then I'll just work my way up, get more exposure to leadership. And that was until I got the email that was like, oh, congratulations, you got in this position. And then I panicked because I was like, oh my goodness, like I haven't had any involvement with leadership. I have no idea what I'm doing. But the great thing that I've gotten from this experience is really being able to be connected with amazing people in the field who have graciously decided to mentor me in a lot of different ways. And so I would encourage people, regardless of whether you feel like you're a natural leader or that you're, too introverted, or, maybe you feel like leadership doesn't always look like you, to pursue it, because I realized being in this position that we have, like, being in these roles, we have so much power to decide what the future of the profession looks like. And, never in a million years would I think that I had that capability, but being in this role has just opened me up to more opportunities, to attend more conferences, because that was an issue for me in terms of funds and stuff. So it's provided me opportunity to do that, meeting more people, being exposed to interest networks, just different avenues that I never would have been aware about had I not been involved. So I'm really grateful for this experience and probably will forever be connected to leadership in some aspect or form, whether it's a committee or an interest network. So I'm grateful for that.
I want to thank everyone for putting statements in regard to what interest areas you'd be looking that would be helpful for you at this time. I've compiled a list and I have that for us to revisit and explore further. I think these, again, this is, I would say, my first town hall in this type of setting. And I appreciate you all being here and us getting to hear, read what's going on with you all and how you're caring for yourself, but also what kind of needs you all have, so that we are able to best represent you at large within ACES. Teysha, do you have anything else you want to add?
I would just say that if there, is something you think of outside of the town hall, like feel free to reach out to us. I'll include my email in the chat, because we really do want to make sure that we're supporting you all in the best way that we can. We know it's hard, like being graduate students, and sometimes depending where you are and what's going on, it can feel lonely and isolating. And so we really want to be that support for you all during this time and also just throughout.
So yeah, so Teysha put her email. I've put my email as well. And again, hopefully you'll hear more from us. We'll definitely include resources and other information based on what you all have shared within, as I think within the next like 2 days. Eric Perry also put the email address up for if you have any questions as well. Know that we do our best. I think Eric does an amazing job about putting information on our website, our social media platforms. So know that that is out there and available. Our executive director also put the email. So know that we are here to connect with you and we want to hear from you. So please take advantage of that and know that you are not alone in this unusual journey that we are on at this time. And we thank you for being here with us, and we hopefully in the near future see you soon. So yes, that is all I have.
You're wonderful. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank our guests, the graduate student representatives today, our ACES president, our executive director, our soon-to-be ACES past president and incoming president. Really appreciated all the discussion here today. Again, the recording will be available to you within a day or two. We'll get that posted on the ACES website and on social media and through the email. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and be well.